All right, Charles Moscowitz here. I'm joined by none other than David Horowitz, the author of Blitz. Trump will smash the left and win? David, of course, is the founder of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. David, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
David, how can Trump win at this point? Is it still possible? And if so, how?
Well, the last actual liberal, who's a Democrat, Alan Dershowitz, says he can. And I think it's by denying a result so it gets thrown back into the Congress, and then the Republicans have a majority of the states.
Right. So then it'll be the House of Representatives with each state sending a delegation, and the Republicans have 31 legislatures. What about Sidney Powell's charge about the Dominion software, what she calls the Kraken?
Well, look, I think the most important thing is that they get all that data out there, that they make the case. Mm-hmm. Look, the Democrats have been stealing elections since Tammany Hall.
Right.
John F. Kennedy's presidency was a stolen election. It's in every book.
Sure, they brag about it.
Sam Giancana, the head of the Chicago mob, voted the cemeteries, and that was the deciding margin. But in July, well, first of all, the Democrats have waged years of war against voter ID, against protecting election integrity. And they do it behind the lie that it's voter suppression, which is idiotic. You can to get food stamps, you need a voter ID. You need
it's insulting to Black people. It's actually
totally. Well, First of all, bottom line, Democrats have utter contempt for ordinary people, and particularly for Black people. They think they're in their pockets. They treat them like crap. They're destroying the livelihoods of all these shopkeepers. I mean, if you watch a program like Bar Rescue, which is on Paramount on TV,
right?
Fascinating in any case, because this guy he's got a psychological formula for turning people around. But you see that whole lives are dependent on these small businesses. The Democrats are systematically ruining the lives of thousands of Americans as we speak. They have, and they just think everybody's in their pocket. Their lies are bald-faced. They don't even make an attempt to make. I was thinking of doing an article, "Tell Me a Lie I Can Believe."
That's a good title. Yeah. I mean, look, they've been sending their shock troops out all summer, looting Black businesses, burning Black neighborhoods, killing Black citizens, including children in Chicago.
It's a criminal party. The Democrat Party is a part, and they're criminals. And the riots of this, this is the largest civil insurrection in the history of the country. The most damaging one is carried out by a lynch mob. A lynch mob, people, is you want the verdict first, and then you get the trial. Every one of these Black Lives Matter cases it's a lynch mob case.
For sure.
Before you saw the toxicology reports on George Floyd, before there was an investigation, the Black Lives Matter and their hooligan, I hate to use the word hooligan, it's something the Russians use, but their gangster friends in Antifa are destroying cities because they want the cops hung for murder. They don't even know the facts. They're not even interested in the
of course
facts.
not.
The guy's right, but they do it to Black cops too.
Well, the only Black lives that matter are black people who might have been killed by a cop in the commission of a crime, and of course you're using your good old fashioned.
Matter.
I understand.
George Floyd is dead, and he's dead because of a fentanyl overdose. Is what he's dead.
That's right. Now, David, look, polls indicate that up to 80% of Republicans believe the election has been stolen and that this is essentially a coup. About 30% of Democrats believe it. So I think that if there can be something brought out that will show really conclusive evidence, whether it be from Giuliani's team or whether it be from Sidney Powell's team, that I think could turn things around.
Well, evidence is one thing, and then getting judges to have spine. I mean, think of what John Roberts did on Obama.
Oh, yeah, terrible.
So they're afraid of their institutions.
And yet I just saw coming over the wires that 4 Supreme Court justices have been put in charge of determining education questions, and that includes Kavanaugh, Barrett, Alito, and Thomas. 4 pretty good ones, I'd say.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What Democrats have done to children is another atrocity. It's unconscionable, both by denying inner city kids choice in education, where they can go to schools that will actually teach them, trapping them in these Democrat-run schools, which they're just graft mills. In my book Blitz, I described the confrontation between Trump and Elijah Cummings, who was the head of the oversight committee.
Who didn't do a damn thing for black people for 30
years.
They
all, he's a millionaire.
Oh, yeah. Him and Maxine Waters doesn't even live in the district.
$15 billion for Baltimore schools from the federal government. And it all went into the pockets of Democrat grifters.
Well, this is why these corrupt machines continue to control the big cities for Democrats.
That's why they hate Trump, because he's
right.
Not afraid to go up against them.
And also, we should note that Trump got double the black vote this time around. I think he got more black votes than any Republican since Eisenhower.
He'll get more next time if he loses.
And he probably got more than that if we subtract all the fraud and all of the corruption. I can't put my mind around the possibility of Biden as president yet. I'm not ready for it. I can't. It's too depressing. Do you really think there's a chance here? I mean, what can be done?
Yeah, but my book Blitz is about the war against Trump for the last 3.5 years, which people are, well, certainly all the Democrats are forgetting. They conducted a war against a sitting president. That's treason. That's all it is. It's sabotaging a presidency. Now they're whining because they want to take 2 weeks to look at a fraudulent election.
The movement to support Trump is the biggest movement, social movement, that I've seen in my lifetime, and I think that that's only going to grow more.
This, take it from me. I mean, I came out. I don't know your background, but I came out of the left. I was raised by communists.
As did I. Yeah.
Leader of the New Left. The first thing when I saw how evil the left was and left it, when I looked at the conservative side, where's the ground army? There's no demonstrations. How are they going to fight these battles? They don't put pressure on anybody. The left is out there extorting gazillions of dollars from corporate America. People on the right would never think of boycotting or having a demonstration against the company. It's an incredible handicap in a war, which is what we're in. And it didn't happen, until I think it was about 2004. If 3 conservatives, were marching together, they'd look at each other and say, what are we, collectivists? And they would stop.
Oh, they're too busy working for a living.
The Tea Party was the first crack. But the Trump has created a mass conservative movement. People do not realize yet the implications of this. They will be organized. Another thing, they don't fight at the local level for the school boards and all the local elections. Conservatives, I used to say this regularly, they think politics happens every 2 years when there's a congressional vote. Mm-hmm. And in between, there's no politics. Whereas the left is politics all day, every day.
They believe in politics because they believe in power. They
don't
believe in God.
Important thing that this election has shown. And this is after 4 years of the most vile character assassination of Trump, of any human being in history. The lies that come out, the whole media should be in jail for what they've done.
Oh, yeah, the level of hatred is something that's unprecedented.
It's unreal. These people are ridiculous and they don't even know it.
The Trump movement is hitting the streets. They're in Atlanta now with the fraud going on in that state. And they're mobile. They're here in Boston. I've seen it right in my own hometown.
But you have to look at looking at the long run. You look at it will be hard to adjust to a Biden presidency. But by 2018, there will be a Republican majority in the House. In 2024, if Trump is still up to it, he will be president again if he loses this time.
It's going to be like Grover Cleveland. David, though, they have to fix this fraudulent Dominion system, though, because that's an international scandal.
I'm distressed, actually, because Dominion came out and said that their machines can't switch votes, for example, and they're not Venezuelan owned. I expect somebody on our side who knows. Yeah. I mean, can't you just look that up on the internet?
It's all there, and they have to investigate that thing. They're shutting down their offices. They shared an office with George Soros in Canada. They've now
and Soros, number one guy in the country, you should be in jail.
The most evil man alive.
Funding all of these insurrections, these criminal occupations of the streets. The leaders of Black Lives Matter are also criminals.
Yeah, they might have pulled off another color revolution like they did in Ukraine and in countries around the world. I think, though, that this is an international movement that I hate the thought, though. I mean, I hope it's not too late, because the new vanguard of their movement, of the left internationalist, is not the usual, which is wars and revolutions and depressions. Now they're using technology. Now they're using digital technology. They can find out, they can control us through satellites. I mean, I know I sound paranoid here, but, microchips.
Not paranoid.
No.
At all. But they're vulnerable.
Okay.
We have a legal system. It's just not being used.
Well, Soros put all these DAs in power, giving them millions.
I know. While the Republican Party slept.
Yeah, and also you have all these corrupt local, election officials switching votes. I think that's something that Sidney Powell's saying, and I think she's to be believed.
They've got the affidavits over that.
Yeah,
they do it.
In Maricopa County, I mean, they were using with the felt pens. Then they have to recount the vote by hand. Who was recounting it? It's very corrupt, and I think everyone knows it. I think all Americans know it in their heart of hearts, whether they like or whether they dislike Trump or like Trump.
I think that's correct. But I just wrote I don't know if you saw the article, it's called Fighting Words. And it's about what's missing. And an awful lot, 40,000 people went and read it on Powerline. And Rush Limbaugh read it over the air.
Excellent.
But here's to me the problem. I mean, the Democrats are at war. And they've been at war for a very long time. Democrats, Joe Biden, here's a presidential candidate in a presidential debate, accused Trump of killing 220,000 people, coronavirus, when Trump has no say in the healthcare systems. We have a federal system in our country. It's the governors of the states that say wear masks or whatever the heck they say, or close down things. So Trump is completely innocent of that. He's done, remarkable stuff with the ventilators and now with the vaccines. So he's accused a Republican president of killing, a mass murder. And then he called him a racist. And what do the Republicans say about comments like that? You listen to Kevin McCarthy say, they're just playing politics. No, people. This is not playing. This is war. They're trying to kill you. When they call you a racist, they want to destroy you. That's the whole idea. Why don't Republicans call the Democrats racist, since it's a racist party? Identity politics is pure racism. You all know. You got a vice president. She's going to be an Indian claiming to be black and female. And you know it in advance because they're so racist, the Democrats.
Well, it's identity politics, as you say, and they're going to use the same card they did with Obama. Anyone who criticizes it, something against black people.
They control every inner city in America of any size. Every injustice in the inner city, and have for 50 to 100 years, 100% control. Any injustice, real or imagined, and they're mostly imagined, in the inner cities, Democrats own 100%. They're responsible. And yet they're blaming Republicans.
Well, you're right. We
The
have to
only guilt Republicans have is that they never mention this.
No, we have to lay out the fact that it's been liberal left-wing policies that have destroyed or damaged the Black community going all the way back to the 1960s. I mean, that's what's racist in the de facto sense, regardless of their intent. I mean, they've destroyed the Black business, they've destroyed the Black church.
They have
Black
the mentality
education.
of racist. They take, when you say they take for granted the Black vote, what the heck does that mean? They think Blacks are stupid and, they're sheep.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
Donald Trump was right. What did they have to lose, Black people, by supporting him?
That's what they hate Trump. Now, you look at Trump's 30 years, an enormous public figure. Everybody in America knew who Trump was for 30 years.
Incredible.
Nobody ever would introduce him as, this is Donald Trump, host of The Apprentice and white supremacist.
Oh, it's a complete
the Democrats brazen lies about, character assassinating lies. They're character assassinating.
No, he was a cultural icon to Blacks up until the minute he walked on that elevator.
When do you hear a Republican say you are a character assassin? You tried to, I'm getting speechless.
Well, no, look, David, I guess my question to
how
you,
did the Republicans agree? You have to think of how powerful this Democrat ideology is in our culture. How is it possible that they held confirmation hearings for a Supreme Court justice about an incident that never happened 37 years ago when he was a high school kid and his accuser, and there's no sex involved, and the accuser was a high school kid and a transparent liar to boot? But how did the Republicans let that? They were so scared, the Republicans on that committee, that they didn't even cross-examine Christine Blasey Ford, the liar.
No. The minute she started to be cross-examined, she left the room. By the way, why are
they got a female prosecutor to do it.
Yeah, and also she started to bear in. I mean, Christine left the room and she said, "I'm done here." Why is it then, therefore, David, that they are so scared? What are they afraid of? I mean, if they call this out,
afraid
they
of being
stand
called
up.
racist. I mean,
Fine.
I know.
Throw the names at them. They're just names. Let them throw the crap at them and stand up.
I know
and take
for
a swing.
Fact that I won't name the name of the Republican senator, but they were. This is quite a few years ago. Could be 10 years ago. They were going to do an congressional investigation of voter fraud in Philadelphia. And he called it off because he didn't want to be called a racist.
I mean, Chris Matthews, formerly before he was done in by the Me Too movement, he talked about growing up in Philadelphia and seeing the voter fraud, seeing after they shut the polls, you had the corrupt Democrat machine people filling out ballots that hadn't been voted.
That's the most dispiriting thing about this. You have very intelligent people on the Democrat side who collude in these lies and do it every day. And the lies are monstrous, and they're I was going to say hurtful. They're worse than that. They're character destroying and career destroying. And where's the Democrat who stood up for Brett Kavanaugh? There isn't
That's
one.
right. No, I mean, they're all they're just, maybe they want to get their big face on television. I don't know. It's like the awards are enormous if you genuflect to the left, and the penalties are great if you stand up to it.
It's a very dispiriting commentary.
And you're one of the few people that has stood up very proudly. And I mean, in my own way, I try to, and other people who emulate you do. And you just have to have more people step up and take a swing at the bat.
Much harder if you are a Democrat.
Oh, yeah. And it could destroy your career. You could destroy your life. I mean, I get it. I get it, like why a college kid keeps their head.
I still don't get it.
They want to get by in this loop,
with such, and it's friends of mine as well.
It's called selling out. I guess.
But you expect there to be more Dershowitzes, and Jonathan Turley tries to be honest. I mean, he's a reasonable guy. I don't agree with him all the time, but he's willing to.
He's a patriot.
He's a patriot.
So, David, where can people get your excellent books and what are you up to?
I have a new book that's coming out in April. Appropriately, it's called The Enemy Within: How a Totalitarian Movement is Destroying America. That totalitarian movement is the Democrat Party and all its satellites.
It really has openly shifted further to the left. Now, the Squad, I think, has doubled in size.
To the left, these are communists.
And they're open about it now.
America haters. They destroy. Look, what have the Democrats done this year? They've attacked they want to abolish the Electoral College. Dingell, before he died, he wants to eliminate the Senate because it's part of the checks and balances system. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They don't want borders. What's left of the country? They want to deplatform the President of the United States. They want him censored. How un-American is that? These people are anti-American, the Democrat Party. It's a treasonous party. What they did to Trump these 4 years is, a nicer word is sedition. But, our whole system is based on accepting the incoming party and, compromising and keeping us all part of one country.
That
right. Was the design of the founders. And before Trump even got to sit in the Oval Office, they were talking about impeaching him, and Soros was funding a resistance, which included...
No, I mean, I had this phony historian, Alan Lichtman, on the show, and he said that Trump should be impeached for his war on women. I mean, this is how crazy they are.
Lichtman is an idiot.
Oh, he's a complete...
there are so many of them. So many.
And Meacham and some of these other guys, I mean, they're all
I'm shocked by Meacham. I read some.
Oh, he was way out there. I mean, I kept seeing his comments. You could just tell that was coming.
I know, but that's what I call the dispiriting part. So this book is already up on Amazon.
Excellent.
I'm sure all of your audience will enjoy the when they see the faces on it.
I can't wait. I'll have you back soon to talk about it.
The book Blitz, you still get on Amazon. It really, the Trump will smash the left and win was a brilliant marketing idea from my publisher.
Great, and very using your old communist jargon too.
The book is about the Trump phenomenon, the war against Trump, how he could survive all these attacks.
It's incredible.
And he, aside from this election fraud.
And now they're talking about the Tsar Nicholas.
10 million more votes than last time.
Oh, more than that. I think it was a landslide.
The avalanche of garbage thrown at him every day.
It was a landslide. I think he probably, if we knew the real vote, he might have even taken California. But David, I mean, they're talking about
the... Interesting. I mean, I know Michelle's...
I mean, I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't. But they're talking about the Nicholas II Tsar approach to Trump post-presidency and his family. I mean, I've heard this already from left-wing commentators.
They want to shoot him in the basement.
No, they're going to try him and put him in prison and do,
of course.
Take him out. Yeah,
that's why it's so important to have.
Shows how communistic they are.
A mass movement. It's not going to happen.
Yes. All right, David Horowitz. Listen, it's an honor and a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Charles. Always a pleasure to talk to you.